Hello friends, today's topic is reported speech. After noun clauses, this topic will be very easy for you. Let's begin. We can report people's words by using direct speech or reported speech. Direct speech is the exact words of someone used. We use the direct speech between quotation marks. Example, I'm tired, Hassan said. You see, in quotation marks, I'm tired. Who said? Hassan said. In direct speech or in reported speech, we give the exact meaning of what someone said. We do not use quotation marks, and we can use that after the introductory verbs sell or tell, or we can omit it. Example, Hassan said that he was tired, or Hassan said he was tired. We can omit that too. What did Mr. Brown tell his wife yesterday? He told his wife, in quotation marks, we will have to buy some food for the COVID-19 lockdown. When we report this, we take the quotation marks out and then we use that and we make some necessary changes here. He told his wife that they would have to buy some food for the COVID-19 lockdown. In indirect speech, in reported speech, we make some necessary changes, especially in personal pronouns. I, you, he, she, it, we, you, they. These change. Possessive adjectives, my, your, his, her, its, our, your, their, change. Possessive pronouns, mine, yours, something like that, change. Change according to the meaning of the sentence. Ali said, I love my school. Ali said that he loved his school. Who said? Ali said. Who said I? Ali said. And we change I to he, and then we put it into a corresponding past tense. And instead of my school, in fact, Ali's school, we write his school. We can report someone's words either a long time after they were said, this is out of date reporting, or short time after they were said, up to date reporting. Let's have a look at say and tell, the famous, very popular introductory verbs in reported speech. We can use say and tell both in direct and reported speech. Say is used with or without a personal object. When used with a personal object, it's always followed by the preposition, as in the example, said to me, preposition to. After said, we use to. He said, I'm cold. He said that he was cold. We don't know who he addresses. And he said to me, the person, the indirect object is known and me. He said to me, I'm cold. He said to me that he was cold. Tell is always followed by a personal object, me. For example, told me. He told me I'm cold. He told me that he was cold. Expressions with say and tell. Let's have a look at the expressions with say and tell. I made a list with say and tell. Let's revise. Say hello, say a few words, say good morning, say afternoon, and say something, say nothing, say a prayer, and say so, something like that. And let's look at tell and its combinations. Tell the truth, always tell the truth, tell a lie, and tell a secret, tell a story, tell a joke, tell the time, tell the difference, tell somebody someone's name, tell somebody the way. For example, can you tell me the way to the post office? Can you tell me the way to the station? Tell one from another. Tell one's fortune. You know, fortune tellers looking into your palms, they try to tell your fortune. Tell somebody something, another expression. Let's begin with imperatives. Imperative sentences can be reported. They may be positive or negative. Example, commands. For example, stop or do not stop, don't stop. And statements, they are positive or negative sentences, and they're not questions. Now questions come, And yes, no questions beginning with auxiliary verb, do, did, something like that. Do you study medicine? And one more, WH questions, information questions. What do you study? And miscellaneous, a request, can you help me carry these, please? Suggestion, why don't you see a doctor? A warning, don't cross the street when the lights are red. Advice, you ought to take an aspirin. Order, stand back. Forward, and exclamation. Wow, what a beautiful kit. How beautiful it is. So let's begin with the statements. Word tenses and time expressions change in the reported speech. When the introductory verb is in the past tense, we make necessary changes. For example, I'm moving to a new house next week, she said. She said that she was moving to a new house the following week. As you see, I'm moving became she was moving. And I changed into she, am, to was, and moving is the same. Instead of next week, we use the following week. In out-of-date reporting, for example, Friday the 1st of May, Mert said I borrowed some money from my parents. But 5th of May, on Monday, the 5th of May, Mert said that he had borrowed some money from his parents. When we consider that, when we consider what the speaker says to be untrue, if we think that what the speaker says untrue, we change. Laura and I are best friends, Jim said to me. Jim said to me, or told me, he and Laura were best friends, but Laura had never actually met him. Reported statements, let's go on. Tense changes are as follows. All the present tenses can be put into a corresponding past tense. For example, present simple becomes past simple. Present perfect becomes past perfect. Present continuous becomes past continuous. Example, present simple becomes past simple. I need a new car, Greg said. Greg said that he needed a new car. Present continuous becomes past continuous, as I said before. He is sleeping, she said. She said that she was sleeping. Or that is optional. You can omit it and you say, she said she was sleeping. And present perfect becomes past perfect. We've already seen this film, he said. He said that they had already seen the film. We're going to study this film as an adjective. This becomes the. And past simple becomes past simple or past perfect. I got up late, Tonya said. Tonya said that she got up late or she had got up late. And past continuous maybe remain as past continuous or past perfect continuous. If there is no risk of confusion, you can use it as past continuous, or it's much better to put it into past perfect tense. I was working at 4 o'clock, Tim said. Tim said that he was working at 4 o'clock. Another alternative, I prefer this one. Tim said that he'd been working at 4 o'clock. And I must tell you that if when, while clause, if there is a when, while, or as clause in the present, past continuous, it remains the same. We don't have to change it. Future with will becomes would, future in the past, or conditional would. I'll call you tomorrow, Kay said. Kay said that she would call me the following day. Another piece of information, the past perfect and past perfect continuous remain the same because we don't have any other corresponding past tense, because past perfect is no more past tense after past perfect. And some words and time expressions change according to the meaning of the sentence. For example, now becomes then, or at that time, or immediately. Let's have a look at the changes here. Today, tonight, and that day, that night. Yesterday, the day before, or the previous day. Tomorrow becomes the next day, the following day. And this week it becomes that week. And last week becomes the week before and the previous week. Next week, the week after, or the following week. 2 days ago, ago becomes before. 2 days ago, 2 days before. 2 weeks ago, 2 weeks before. And here, there. Normally here may be used as here, but if the reporting person is away from us, according to him, the place where we address is there for him. I say here and he says there. Like this, come becomes go and bring becomes take. So you should be careful about the changes of these problematic words. And this and these, when they are used in time expressions, they become, for example, this becomes that. Only in time expressions, this becomes that. Otherwise, it becomes the. These days become those days, yes. When this, these, that, those are not used in time expressions, they change as follows. For example, they change to the when used as adjectives, when they modify a noun or followed by a noun. This film is boring, Claire told me. Claire told me that the film was boring. This film. Film is not time expression. If it is time expression, if it were time expression this week, this month, this year, it would be that month, that year. They change it or they, them when used as pronouns. That is, when they are followed by a noun. For example, this is not an adjective here, it's an adverb here. And it's used as a what? This is an unusual situation as a subject. So, that said, it was an unusual situation. So, when it is used with time expressions, we change it to that. When it is an adjective modifying a noun, it becomes the. And also, when it is used only by itself as a pronoun, we change it to it. Certain modal verbs change as follows. Will becomes would. For example, one day I'll be able to afford a car. And he said that one day he would be able to afford a car. Can becomes could. Could sometimes becomes would be able to as a future reference. For example, we can meet tomorrow. The word, the time expression tomorrow makes the sentence future. And when we use can in the future, we make it would be able to meet the next day. May becomes might, and shall becomes should when asking for advice. For example, when shall I come? He asked when he should come. He asked me when I should come. And offers, expressing offers, he said, shall I help you? This is a kind of offer, you know. You offer somebody something or you offer to do something for somebody. And when you offer a service like this, shall I help you? And you report it after verb offer to do something. He offered to help me. And must remains as must or had to. In the past, he said, you must finish this. And he said that he had to finish it. And this is here an adverb, and it becomes it. Needn't the same, or didn't need to, didn't have to, because needn't is the same as don't have to, don't need to. When we put them into a corresponding past tense, they become didn't need to, didn't have to. You needn't pay in cash. He said, I needn't pay in cash. I didn't need to pay in cash. I didn't have to pay in cash. Would, could, might, should, they are all the same. They remain the same. I might talk to her. He said he might talk to her. You must be tired. He said, or Tom said, she must be tired. In type 1, conditional type 1, we make tense changes. And present simple becomes past simple, and will becomes would in the main clause. If you ask Lisa, she'll help you. He said that if I ask Lisa, she would help me. But in type 2 and 3 conditionals, we don't make any tense changes. And here are the examples. You see. If I had more time, I would take up a hobby, Eric said to me. Eric told me that if he had more time, he would take up a hobby. And if I hadn't parked my car on a double yellow line, I wouldn't have got a ticket, Sam said. Here is the ticket, is the fine. You know, the traffic policeman or traffic warden, when you do wrong, they give you a piece of paper that shows you have to pay as a fine. And verb tenses in reported speech are in present, future, or present perfect, we don't change the tense. For example, mom says, present simple, mom is saying, and mom has said, mom will say. These are the tenses, and we don't make changes in tense. Mom says, dinner is ready. Mom is saying, dinner is ready. Mom has said, dinner is ready. Mom will say, dinner is ready. And the introductory verb is in the present tense when we pass on messages, when we report it simultaneously. Debbie says she needs the car tonight. For example, you're talking on the phone and then you report what Debbie says. You say Debbie says she needs the car tonight. And when we report the content of a letter or article or a notice, we do not change it. The article says that the people use too much water. And when we refer to something or someone says very often, mom often says, usually says, always says that I shouldn't talk to strangers. The tenses can either change or remain the same in reported speech. In up-to-date reporting, when reporting a general truth or law or nature, scientific facts, the teacher said, Paris is the capital of France. And is Paris the capital of France? Is it still true? Yes, of course. And you can use is here, or you can use according to a rule into a past simple. Reported questions are usually introduced with the verbs ask, inquire, wonder, or the expressions want to know. So these are the introductory verbs for questions. What did you make for dinner yesterday? Bob asked me. Bob asked me, and we write the question word, and then I make necessary changes, not the question word order, but the statement word order here, what I had made for dinner the day before. And we omit please, well, oh, and such expressions while reporting. And let's have a look at the rest of the sentences. When the direct speech begins with a question word, who, where, how old, how long, when, why, what, etc., the reported question is introduced with the same question word. When the direct question begins with an auxiliary, is, do, have, or, a modal verb can, may, etc., then the reported question begins with if or whether. Probably you'll remember from the noun clauses. Why do you want to leave your job? Pam asked me. Pam asked me why I wanted to leave my job. Do you like rock music? He asked us. He asked us if whether we liked rock music. If we liked rock music or whether we liked rock music. You remember? Yes. Can you ride a motorcycle? Ben asked David if whether he could ride a motorcycle. And reported commands, requests, and suggestions, we have different forms while reporting these words. To report commands, instructions, requests, or suggestions in reported speech, we use an appropriate introductory verb as ask, order, beg, suggest, tell, and to infinitive or ing form, depending on the, or that clause, depending on the introductory verb. Example, stop the car, the policeman said to him. The policeman ordered him to stop the car. Put all the ingredients in a bowl, she said to me. I'm making something to eat. She told me to put all the ingredients in a bowl. Here, order someone to do and tell someone to do as you're familiar with. Will you please hold the bag for me? Laura said to Susan. Laura asked Susan to hold the bag for her. Because you see, please, ask is a good word, or requested you can use to mean this. How about going to the cinema? This is a kind of suggestion, and I suggested going to the cinema, or I suggested that we go to the cinema, but in British English we use should, that we should go. Or that we went, also possible, I didn't write here. We use the verbs exclaim, say, that to report exclamations which begin with what a, what and, how in indirect speech. What an unusual design, he said. He exclaimed that it was an unusual design, or he said that it was an unusual design. He exclaimed that the design was unusual. But with exclamations such as splendid, great, good, excellent, perfect, oh dear, etc. We use the expression give an exclamation of delight, give an exclamation of disgust, give an exclamation of relief, give an exclamation of surprise. Let's see. Wow, he said as he unwrapped his gift. He gave an exclamation of surprise as he unwrapped his gift. They said, thank you. They thanked us. You fool, she said. She called him a fool. Happy birthday, we said to Ali. We wished Ali a happy birthday. Congratulations. They congratulated us. Yes, no short answers are expressed in reported speech with subject plus appropriate auxiliary verb plus introductory verb. Will you help me decorate the cake? She asked him. Yes, he said. There are two sentences here. One is a question, the other is the answer. She asked him to help her decorate the cake, and he said he would. He said he agreed, because he said yes. We don't say yes, we say he would or he agreed. Question tags are omitted, and you won't tell anyone, will you? She asked him not to tell anyone. Reporting a dialogue. In dialogues, we use a mixture of statements, questions, commands, requests, etc. If you're going to put a dialogue into reported speech, so you should be aware of what are the speech, what in the first, you and he had this, and he went to play while when and also he also complaining, etc. I'm exhausted, she said to him. Can you make me a cup of tea? She exclaimed that she was exhausted and asked him to make a cup of tea for her. I'll take a taxi home. It's getting late, he said. He said that he would take a taxi home as it was getting late, because it was getting late, or since it was getting late. And we put the speaker's words in quotation marks. Let's revise how to write, how to punctuate. The speaker's words will be in quotation marks, and we capitalize the first word. The first word must be in capital, in block letters. For example, he, we begin, the initial is age, and it's capital. And we write the direct speech in quotation marks. And if we begin the person who says this, we put a comma, and then we write the quotation marks. But if you begin the direct speech in quotation marks, we put a comma inside this place, and we don't capitalize the person, the pronoun of the person who said. And another example, if there is a question, shall we go now? For example, question mark is between quotation marks. And he asked her, comma, shall we go now? And we put the, after comma, we put the direct speech of the person, direct question of the speaker. Yes, friends, now let's do some exercises. And Andrew cleaned the blue bike. This is a command, you know, imperative. It begins with the root of the verb. So it's very, very easy, because we say, Andrew told me to clean the blue bike. What did he tell me? He told me to clean. We write the auxiliary, the introductory verb and the indirect object, and we put to, and after to, we write the root of the verb. We write the command. Nelly told me to help Peter's sister. So this is positive imperative. And here I must change the screen. And if it is a negative command, what do? We're going to begin with to do or not to do. For example, Karen told me not to play football. We make it negative. And one more, don't forget to do your homework. Ödevini yapmayı unutma. Don't forget to do your homework. Teacher told me or reminded me or warned me not to forget to do my homework. And one more, Mandy is at home. This is a statement, and we report it. John said that Mandy was at home. Mandy is at home. Mandy was at home. And Frank often reads a book. Max told me that Frank often read a book. One more, I'm watching TV. Susan said to me that she was watching TV. And our teacher will go to Izmir tomorrow. Let's have a look at the time changes in exercises. So we're going to change tomorrow. Emily said that their teacher would go to Izmir the following day or the next day. Helen, I was writing a letter yesterday, and Helen told me that she'd been writing a letter the previous day or the day before. And one more, my father flew to Dallas last year. Robert told me that his father flew to Dallas the previous year, the year before. Yes, friends. Now, questions. And questions, yes, no questions, and WH questions. You know, it begins with do you want to dance? Christopher asked me if I wanted to dance or not. And when did you come? Betty wanted to know when I came, when I had come, also possible. Mark, has John arrived? Mark asked me if John had arrived. And WH questions, yes. Why didn't Nick go to New York last summer? Nancy wanted to know why Nick didn't go to New York the summer before, or why Nick hadn't gone to New York the summer before. Barbara, must I do my homework this afternoon? Barbara asked me if she had to do her homework that afternoon. You see, this afternoon time expression, and it becomes that. It's a bit problematic. Maybe this is the first time you have heard this, so this is an important point. And next, did Max fly to London 2 weeks ago? Linda wanted to know if Max flew, or if Max, sorry, it must be capital, had flown 2 weeks before. Grandmother, where are my glasses? Grandmother asked me where her glasses were. This is all for today. Maybe next time we're going to learn something new. Good luck.